Vacationland is my new book of true stories. My previous 3 best-selling books, the areas of my expertise, more information than you require, and that is all, composed one giant 1,000-page almanac of invented trivia and fake facts, like the 9 US presidents who had hooks for hands and 700 nicknames for hobos of the Great Depression. I came to finish that project, and I realized I didn't have any fake facts left. And what's more, now everyone is doing fake facts. It's pretty much all of culture right now. So that left me only with the mere awful truth of my own dumb life. And I started telling stories from that life on stage all across this country and parts of Canada. And now I've collected them into this book, Vacationland. Vacationland follows my journeys as an asthmatic city boy through 3 different wildernesses. One being the rural hills of western Massachusetts, where I spent a lot of my youth. The other being the painful beaches of rural coastal Maine, where my wife has instructed me I will accept my death. And then the third wilderness is the metaphoric wilderness of middle age, which connects those 2 things uncomfortably. Maine, the state, is called Vacationland. That is its nickname, which is sort of a cruel joke, because when they invented Maine in 1820, there was no such thing as vacation. No one could really go on vacation. You were tending a farm, or later getting your hand mangled in an industrial machine. Very, very few people could afford to go away for a week or 2 or more, and so vacation was invented, in this case, by wealthy Bostonians, whose idea of vacation was to go north to a cold, dark place, to drink martinis and not speak to any of their family members and stare out silently over bodies of water that you would never, ever swim in, because the ocean of Maine is made of hate and wants to kill you. It is profoundly cold, and if you accidentally fall into it, you should get out immediately. But the beach offers no refuge, because the beaches of Maine are not sand. They're made up of jagged rocks and knives. Now, I am a father. I'm a weird dad now, in my 40s, with a terrible facial hair. I grew my facial hair for the same reason all weird dads grow their facial hair. It's an evolutionary signal to the world that I'm all done. I have my genetic material out there in the world, so attention mating population, no thank you. What happens when you go into middle age, I've discovered, is you begin to contemplate the fact that the world does not need you, and indeed will go on without you kind of soon, sooner than you thought. And confronting essentially that mortality was a very challenging thing for me to do, because as an only child, I couldn't imagine that the world would go on without me, and frankly, I found it insulting. It's also a time when your children start to pull a little bit away from you, which I am told is age-appropriate self-individuation, but I think they smell death on me and don't want to be around me. So a lot of the wilderness of middle age is a journey that you wander on your own as you contemplate those things. And I'll tell you something, if you want to contemplate death, boy, oh boy, Maine has a lot to offer. Is there a ray of hope in Vacationland? Yes, I mean, there is. I mean, the book happened because I had finished what I considered to be my life's work. You know, those 3 books of invented trivia were every joke I knew how to tell, every story that I felt I had in my life. And I thought I didn't know what to do with myself when it was done. When we reach those points, whether it's literal middle age or other big life transitional moments, and we feel like the best of us is behind us, and what do we do to fill up the time, it's terrifying. Luckily, I tricked my brain into finding a new path, initially by just talking on stage and performing the stories that grew into this book. And it was an incredible gift that my dumb brain gave me, and that our brains give to all of us, that when tried and tested, most of the time we will find a new path forward. And that's what I think in the metaphoric New England has to offer, because New England is a cold, dark, and angry place, and the waters of Maine are very cold. And when you go swimming in them, you think, this is it, I'm going to die now. Every cell in your body screams with anger at you, because your cells are saying to yourself, you have free will, you didn't have to do this, you had a choice. But then you get used to the water. And if you are patient and breathe through it, you realize it's not going to kill you. And that is a real moment of transcendence, I think, because you realize that both the actual Maine and the metaphoric wilderness of middle age, once you get used to the terror and the pain and the difficulties and the bad knees and the heel spurs and the gray in your beard and the fact that your children are gradually wandering away from you, sometimes into the street, that there is still a way forward and a way to fill up what remains of your life, the second half, or maybe, if I'm lucky, the fourth, fifth